Detroit Business Hub Group Director Nancy O'Neill works with her team of experts. Listen to conversations with business professionals to discover the latest business innovations, insights, and trends. Find out what's hot and what's not in today's business market.
Hi, Denitra. We are so pleased to have you on as a guest. It's been so long since we've been able to catch up with each other. The last time that I saw you, we were both hanging out in Royal Oak, and we were both single. So since then, you have tied the knot. So that's been a minute.
How long has that been?
Man, that's been probably about 5 years. That was before I moved to Florida. So that's probably 3 to 5 years ago.
I missed the whole Florida thing because I didn't know you were in Florida. So it's been a long time.
Yep, I lived in Florida for 1.5 years, and I've been back actually in June. It'll be 2 years in June.
Okay.
Yeah,
welcome back.
Yeah. Thank you. So you're gonna have to fill me in on everything that's going on. First, let's do our introductions before we get caught up. So, we've known each other for years. I know that you're an image consultant. You spoke on some Women Who Inspire at some Women Who Inspire events. You've done my hair before. So you are just multi-talented. I don't know if you're still doing that. I did not forget. You're just multi-talented. You do a whole lot of different things. So I just wanted you to take the opportunity to introduce yourself so I don't hit on the wrong angles. I want you to highlight what you would like to highlight and discuss tonight.
Sure. My name is Denitra Gregory. I am now a wife. I'm a daughter, a sister, a friend, and I just so happen to get to share with now the whole world the things that I love. And so anything regarding image, I am on it. And so I'm just so happy to be here with you and all of your guests and to share a little bit about what I love.
Great. And your hair is always slamming. So who's your inspiration? You kind of remind me of like a local Taraj. So I just want to know, like, who do you look up to in terms of fashion, hair, design, image consulting? Like, who are some of the people that you admire in other people you admire in the industry?
I'll just start with people who just inspire me. I am a fan of Halle Berry's style. I think it's effortlessly chic. She is just, she's always very feminine looking, effortless, kind of careless. She really is body conscious, so she wears things that fit her and that look good. As far as hair, I think
she got some slamming hairstyles too now.
She does. Actually, let's talk about the recent awards. People were like completely talking about her new hair and her dress, and I absolutely loved both. I think it was very very mod and contemporary. I just and it was still effortless. She didn't have to constantly pick with it. It was something that can blow in the wind. She could run her fingers through her hair. It was not done, but the cut was spectacular. I love her whole look. She is on the top of my list as far as inspiration goes, as far as style.
Okay. So are you saying, do you like Taraj?
I love her. I absolutely love her. I think probably her current, embracing her natural hair is really, really inspiring. The hair color actually is really, really complimentary to her skin tone, to her
like a purple
personality. Look. I love it. I love it on her. I think now it's a little red. I think that's the most recent of her hair color, but she's fly. I love her.
Yeah, I actually did not watch the Oscars, so of course, once you said something, I had to look online and see what you were talking about. She does look good. Now, what do you think about? I'm a big fan of statement jewelry. I see women now that are wearing, like this is a J. Crew necklace. So I will spend a little bit of money on some jewelry, not necessarily earrings all the time. I'm like, as long as it has a surgical post or whatever, I'm fine. Like I just got some little hoops on from like Walmart. But I like the statement necklaces. And when you see, I always thought if you saw a woman and she has like a low neckline, that she should wear a choker or something with that. Is this the new fad now where women are just not wearing necklaces anymore?
I'm gonna jump out on a limb and say that I've never been an accessory person to the point of making it a part of my personal style. I've always, though, been a huge, very eclectic earring lover. Hence
Yeah,
my
I
wood.
love the ears that you're wearing on today. Yeah, those are very cute.
And so really, I feel like a good earring and a good statement ring or something of that
Yes.
nature is really, really all you need. But again, it's
Mhm.
totally according to your personal style. So I don't think it's a bad thing. I
Mhm.
just don't love it always. But definitely, you're rocking your necklace. I absolutely
Yes.
love it.
Because
Yeah,
I'm like, you could just
it's
have on a
pretty.
really bland outfit. You can dress this up. There's so many different things I've worn this with. You could just wear it with a blouse. You can wear it with a t-shirt and some jeans. You could dress
Yeah.
it up. You can dress it down. So it's I just love the chokers. And I thought like with a very nice evening gown, you just wear it with a necklace. It's kind of like Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman in that one scene where he puts that necklace around her neck. I like it. I mean, maybe this is old fashioned, but like 20, 30 years, you wouldn't see a woman wear a gown without a necklace on. So I just want to know if like this is some kind of new fad or something that I don't know about. Nobody
I think
clued me in. So
I think the
I didn't
whole
know, so I'm gonna keep
thought,
wearing my choker.
keep wearing it. That's you.
Yeah,
It looks
I like
good.
it.
It looks good. I think the whole thought behind that though is just simplicity and not overdoing things. I think the whole thing in Hollywood now is just like very organic, very natural, very
Mhm.
um and to me I feel like right now I have on a necklace. It's not a statement necklace per se, but
Mhm.
I'm not a necklace wearer.
Yeah, I don't
I'm
like
just
usually
not.
go out and wear one every day, but I mean, sometimes I had the guy I'm dating, he got me a little necklace with a little cross on it. So I wore it every day. And then one of the times I was at his home, it fell right off of the clasp and we haven't found it since. So
Oh no.
yeah, I kind of like wearing these types of, the statement jewelry because for one thing, it lasts a long time. You're not going to lose it. If you drop it, you're going to feel the weight of it like fall off your neck or your ear. And I don't know, it just kind of sticks around longer. I feel so bad that I lost the necklace. I have still not gotten over that. And this is like 6 weeks ago.
Oh no. I think, really the gist of it is it's a personal thing. Do what
Yeah.
you like, wear what you love, and it's okay.
Yeah. So do you think instead of just trying to create your own or follow the trend, the going trend, because trends, they come and go, right? Like, the bell bottoms were in the 70s. We saw it come back in the 80s. Now I think if some people walked out with bell bottoms on, people would look at them kind of funny, like you're in the wrong decade. And now you have these men wearing these really tight, skinny pants and jeans. I guess that's kind of like a fad. I've never seen that before. I'm not a huge fan, but on some guys, they pull it off. It actually looks pretty nice. But I mean, they're skinny jeans because I think the guy's supposed to be skinny. Like, he can't weigh a certain weight and walk around in those. And I don't think it's just not a good look.
I mean, like you said, trends come and go. I am a huge component of style. I think trends are a part of
Hmm.
fashion and not style. And so,
Gotcha.
personal style is definitely very obviously individual. And there
Right.
are components to personal style that have nothing to do with fashion. So I think that if
Mhm.
people kind of hone in on their personal style, get to know what they like, what they look good in, and what fits in what environment, I think that we'll all do really well in terms of style versus following trends. I mean, I personally like some trends, but
Mhm.
they're gonna be out of style in a couple of years. So
Right.
your personal style, your classics, your things that fit you well, those are the things
Mhm.
that stay around. And so there's nothing wrong with trends, but you might have to mix it up a little bit.
Yeah, yeah. So let's talk about some people with fashion, such as Michelle and Barack Obama. And I mentioned them for a couple of reasons. Now, when Michelle, before the first election, everyone like loved her style. She used a lot of American designers. She was a huge fan of American designers like J. Crew. I remember one time she had on like they went somewhere and she had on a J. Crew bathing suit, and it just went viral because everybody just loved this bathing suit. And then it seems like there was some kind of a turn or twist with during the second election campaign where all of a sudden now it's like the media seemed to turn on her and her publicity started to get really negative. And I mean, I guess because they didn't have anything else that they could pick on, so they picked on the fashion. I mean, because I'm like, what does this have to do with politics? Now, I will say, like, I've seen them, they seem to be more critical of the Obamas than I have seen with other presidents and presidents' wives. But they were so nitpicky. Like, for instance, on election when he won the first time, a lot of people were critical of the black and red dress. I was not a huge fan of it, but I'm like, that's part of her style. Maybe she likes, I don't know, bright colors or whatever. It didn't really seem to mesh too well. I didn't understand the dress selection myself, but I'm like, that's her style. Then she's got to, be true to herself. And then with that second election, they were talking about her nail colors. Almost, they seemed to rip apart almost anything she wore. It was like always this like point of contention. I mean, what do you think that was about? Do you think that was about fashion now with this whole thing with Kamala Harris and the, what was it, Vogue or Cosmopolitan,
So the
the magazine
cosmopolitan.
cover, yeah, the magazine cover, they're like, she was too casual. I mean, how important is this topic and issue in politics or, in business or everyday life?
I first want to address First Lady Michelle Obama. I think in the
Mhm.
second term, she really let her personal style shine through. I
Mhm.
loved it. A couple of things that we have to take in consideration, I think that America does not do a good job of, is culture. And
Right.
so a Black woman is gonna be different than what the standard is in
Yeah.
America. And I personally loved it. She let us see curves. She let us see how well her skin looked in different colors.
Mhm.
She wore her larger hoops. I mean, she embraced her personal style and her blackness. And I absolutely love it. Like I absolutely love it. So I
She
think
was
that
true to herself.
absolutely, absolutely. And I
And
think
there
that
is,
any
I'm sorry to interrupt. I was just like, there's no trend because there's never been a black first lady. So she didn't she didn't have anybody to follow. They were the trendsetters.
I think that she was being a stylish Black woman who looked good. And when, like I said, when America's not used to seeing a thing or um, when it doesn't look like what their standard is, then you go to nitpicking. But I mean, I absolutely loved everything about her style in the second term. So to me, she can't do any wrong.
One of the news commentators said that um, they were on the campaign trail, and I remember they were talking about her fingernail polish. And I was shocked because they said she's over. First of all, I'm like, who cares? Can we please talk about like the real issues here. And we're sitting up here having a conversation about nail polish. I have never seen them rip apart a first lady like that. But I think it was like a green or some kind of fluorescent color. And they said she's over 40. She's too old to be wearing that color. And I'm like, who makes these kind of fashion rules? What made you the fashion police? I'm like, I thought this was a news show. Why are we even talking about this? I don't know if you remember the story or not, but starting to get insulted as a Black woman because they don't do this to other people in other cultures. So I don't know why they feel like they have a free pass to do that to us.
I mean, that's my point exactly. But I'm so happy and I'm so proud of her because more of us than not, especially the younger generation, can look at her and say, you know what, it's okay for me to embrace my Blackness, no matter of what stature, what position I am in.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. And I think that as more of us do that hopefully in the future we'll have less scrutiny, and we will be able to focus on the content of people's character and not so much on how they look on the outside. Are you still with us, Denitra? Because it looks like your screen's a little frozen, so I don't want to start asking questions. Yeah, is everything okay? Okay, there you go. Yeah, I think your computer just timed out for a second. Well, let's get into the interview. Do you want to tell us about yourself and how you got started in the image consulting industry?
Are we live now?
Yes, we are live. Yeah.
Okay, because I had a
yeah, you froze for a sec. That's okay.
Okay. Well, I started actually in grade school.
Look at you.
I can tell you that I probably started coming into my own style in the 3rd or 4th grade.
Okay.
My mom I have a twin brother.
Oh, okay.
So
I see pictures of you and your sister all the time. I didn't realize you had a twin brother.
Yeah. So we kind of dressed alike up until probably the 1st or 2nd grade. When I say alike, I mean like pattern, print, things of that nature. And we were in the same classes to that point. So after we weren't in the same classes, I was able to kind of be my own person.
Oh, okay.
And so I started embracing my personal style then. And then I would say a couple of years later, I kind of knew like what I wanted in terms of hair and how I wanted to look, so much so that my mom stopped doing my hair. She let me do my own hair.
That's pretty impressive.
Yes, she got tired of me saying, do this, do it like this, do this. I want to wear this. She let me pick out all of my clothes because I was just that particular.
Okay.
So I say that it started in grade school. And then by the time I was in high school, I was helping people to dress. I was doing hair. I was doing nails. I was doing makeup. And so all of it started then. But officially, it started back in, I want to say 2007. I went to an entrepreneurship institute for one thing, I thought. And my instructor was able to kind of pull out what she thought that I was good at. And so I started there. And I started actually doing public speaking and speaking about image before I ever touched someone individually in terms of dressing them. So it kind of morphed and transitioned into more of me doing image consulting and wardrobe styling with one-on-one clients versus public speaking. So I actually started out speaking about it before I actually started doing image consulting one-on-one.
Okay.
Yeah.
So also you recently got married. So congratulations on that. And I thought I saw a quote, now correct me if I'm wrong, that said you two really more interested in planning a wedding. So what role did you all play in planning your wedding? and how much was image a part of that? Because your dress, by the wedding dress, was gorgeous. So I want to let you know
Thank
that. So
you.
it's very elegant, very,
Thank you.
I was actually a little surprised to see you wear that because I thought you would have had like more of the bling bling, but it was still very, very tasteful, very elegant.
Thank you.
So I guess I think the wedding dress is supposed to express your personality, the bride's personality. So tell us how you selected the dress and tell us who planned the wedding since you and your husband weren't interested in planning it.
So we planned it at the last minute, actually. So we were actually going to go to the courthouse to get married. I had a plum dress for the courthouse.
Oh, wow. Okay.
that I was gonna wear. And then I would say halfway through our marriage counseling, we were convinced to kind of go the more traditional route in terms of where we were going to get married. So we decided to get married at our church. And so I found my dress a week before my wedding.
Wow.
A week before my wedding online, actually, and had it rush shipped. I knew that I would have to get it altered. Get alterations.
Yeah, I usually do. Yeah.
Yeah. So I got alterations, and it was just like the dress was made for me. I mean, I know, excuse me, I know my body. I know what I like. I know, you know, I knew what color and all of that. So it just worked out that way. But in terms of myself and my husband, we really are into the elegance of simplicity, if that makes any sense. And so I am not a fussy person about anything. I did not want my wedding to represent that. We wanted, we still want it nice. We still want it elegant, but we wanted simplicity. We didn't want to make a fuss about anything. And so even with his tuxedo, I think we went and picked that out like maybe 3 days before.
Yeah, you guys are kind of cutting it down to the wire here.
Yeah. And neither one of us were nervous because we were like, you know what? It is going to be what it is, because both of us are really confident in our personal style. So if that didn't work, something would have worked. But so we love vintage. We love nice things. And like I said, we just love the simplicity of elegance. And so we just went with that. We had the ceremony in the chapel, no huge elaborate decorations because, the older churches, the chapels are beautiful anyway. You don't need a whole lot.
Yeah.
So we did it that way. We had a small strolling reception at a very beautiful, it's called the Inn at 97 Winder, which is a mansion in Brush Park. Yeah.
So it's like a mansion, right? Was it a mansion?
Yeah.
It looked like a mansion. Okay.
Yeah. And that was it. And that was great for us. We were able to visit with every attendee that was there versus, being in this huge wedding reception, only 30% of the people. So we kept it the way we wanted it. We wanted it to be personable, personal. We wanted it to have an old but new feel. And so I'm happy that we found, the venue for the strolling reception, and I'm happy that it worked out the way that it did. We still look back on it and say it's nothing that we would do differently.
Great. Now tell me, how did you land in Black Magazine with the wedding photos?
So I started posting pictures. Obviously, we didn't get our professional pictures back until maybe a month later. So I started just posting pictures that people would send us. And one PR person reached out and she's like, you need to send some of your pictures to this publication and this publication and this publication. And so I did what she said. And so yeah.
Okay, so it worked out. So they picked up the story. They picked it up. Didn't, like you told me the backstory, so they didn't really I don't know if they shared how the two of you met or how the knot was tied or anything, but it sounded, from what I saw, it was just like a photo gallery.
Yeah,
of the
I think
wedding.
that they sent us a couple of like questions that we answer, and I think that they
Mhm.
had that in the article as well.
Okay, great. So let's pivot to salespeople. Also, I know you introduced yourself, but you were kind of a little vague. So I read your bio on your website, and you've actually done makeup for a couple of celebrities, and you've been on some movie sets. So tell us about that experience, so people like know what your background is a little bit more in depth.
Sure. So before officially going full time with my image consulting company, I worked in a salon, in a hair
Mhm.
salon. So I'm a licensed cosmetologist also. And
Yeah.
so these are where these opportunities came from. The owner of my salon at the first salon at the time, he worked on movies all the time. And
Mhm.
so the first movie that I worked on was Batman versus Superman. They needed someone extra in the makeup department. And so he, put my name in the mix. I think I
Right.
may have had to send a couple of photos of my work, and it
Mhm.
was just as simple as that. And so I worked a full week on the movie set for Batman versus Superman.
Now,
And
where was the
then
setting? Where was the shoot at? Because I know at one point with Granholm, there were quite a few movies that were shot in Detroit and Michigan. Was that in Michigan, or did you have to travel somewhere else?
it was in Michigan. It was during the time that we had the movie incentives, which we don't
Right.
have in Michigan anymore. But it was local. It
Hmm.
was local. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so um, after that, I got involved with the Michigan Opera Theater, which is Detroit Opera House, and that was from a referral from one of my cosmetology instructors. So I've been doing that now for 10 years.
Oh,
Of
that's
course,
awesome.
yeah, because of the pandemic, we haven't been in theater,
Right.
so it's been a pause. But I really, really, I mean, that I enjoy that. I get to see so much behind the scenes of the preparation of
Mhm.
productions and opera. And then recently, last fall, I worked on another movie set that was here. Um, what was the name? No Sudden Move. I'm like, what was
Oh,
the name
okay.
of that? With Don Cheeto, and so that was fun. I worked in the hair department for that one.
Oh,
So
good.
yeah, so that was really fun. I've actually in between that produced and directed my own show, Strolling Monologues, where I combine fashion, hair, and art um, together. And so, with that Strolling Monologues is we highlight iconic African American women in history. So we actually turn actors or actresses into these iconic women. So we do their
Mhm.
hair like them, we do their makeup like them, wardrobe, and
Mhm.
they perform 5-minute monologues. So all of this in terms of in the beauty and fashion industry, I was able to combine and create my own production. And so those are
That's awesome.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
When can we see your production? Is this going to be film, stage?
It
What type
was
of?
actually we obviously didn't do it last year, probably not going to do it this year, but it ran for 3 years, and we would do it around
Oh,
we would do it around Black History Month. Yeah.
okay. Now,
Yeah.
was it like at Plowshares, or you just went to different schools? How did you set it up? Like, was it a touring type of stage play?
So it was always at the car center, and the car center, I'm not sure if you're familiar. It was in a huge house that had a theater at the top level, but it was a tri-level mansion that was an art center. It's not there anymore.
Oh,
And so we were able to use each level as sets. So our guests would stroll from set to set, hence
oh,
strolling monologues. Yeah.
oh, great. That sounds beautiful. Well, I'm definitely going to have to come out the next time that you do that. Yeah, it has been a while because I wasn't aware of that. So I'm glad that
Yeah.
you told me about it. So yeah, I definitely want to check that out. So pivoting on to sales professionals, why is it important for sales professionals to maintain a professional image?
I think, image is everything, regardless to
Mhm.
whether we want to admit it or not. We live in a
Mhm.
visual world, and image is not just about appearance. It's about etiquette. It's about magnetism. It's about making the
Mhm.
first impression. And so I like to think that we all are our own salesperson, regardless to what industry we're
Mhm.
in. We have a personal brand that we're selling every single day. And so the importance of making a good first impression, having your appearance together, practicing great etiquette are all great pieces for anyone in the sales industry, which is all of us. Which is all of us. So our image really, really plays a great deal into the success of what we do and how we do it and how we present to the world.
Yeah, I think I say sales professionals because I think that image is important if this is something that you're doing full time. Like sales, most people in sales are paid on commission. There's a few industries in sales that they pay salary, but most of us are on commission. So, for an example, if you're a hairstylist and you sell hair and hair design, your hair can't be looking crazy. But both of us know hairstylists that don't maintain their own hair. And I'm just like, I don't understand it. It kind of, to me, it seems like you're contradicting yourself. Some hairstylists, I guess they say they don't have time to do their own hair. So at that point, I'm like, why wouldn't you just wear a wig? Like, I don't know, or do a weave or do something. But you got to keep it together because this is what you're saying. You're your own billboard, and this is what you're telling the world. You're passing out business cards. You're telling people, like, I'm a hair professional, I do hair. And yet they're not even doing their own hair. So that's why I emphasize sales because that's kind of the Detroit Business Hub group. Those are the type of people that we work with. But I think it's that even more so important because this is your livelihood you're talking about.
Absolutely. I think that once we all become more intentional about how we show up, and
Mhm.
how we show up affects every aspect of what we do. I think that image, style, fashion has to start with a thought process versus
Mhm.
an aesthetic. And so,
Right.
if we kind of change the perspective of how we look at style and fashion and image, I think that we can all do a better job at how we
Mhm.
present and how we like to be project how we want to be projected. And so, really, really, it starts with intent. If we intend to be successful, then we have
Mhm.
to be intentional. Why can't I say that word? Intentional.
You did it. You
About,
said
there we go, about
it.
how we show up. And
Right.
sometimes that requires effort. And
Yeah.
so, just like we work out, or just like, we get up in the morning and have to shower and brush our teeth, it takes a little
Mhm.
bit of effort, it takes a little bit of thought. So, if we take some time to think about how we
Mhm.
show up and how that affects the success of what we do, I think we'll all do a better job in terms of style and in terms of image. So it's just a mindset. I really, really believe that everything starts here and here. So
Mhm.
if we can kind of get that perspective going versus it being like a daunting task,
Right.
because all it boils down to really is a sense of pride also.
Yeah.
And so if we don't put effort and if we don't put intention behind what we do, then how can we ever be proud of
Yeah.
the outcome? And that
And
leads to a downward spiral. If you don't feel good, you're
absolutely.
not going to look good. And if you don't
Right.
look good, you're not going to feel good.
Well, not only that, but just like kind of how you show up to work, this is this kind of millennial, and I think it started with our generation too, but this just kind of, que sera, whatever be will be, whatever happens, happens. And it's just this really nonchalant attitude. And I love how you said intentional, because that's really what it is. And it's like, I think with this millennial generation that they, not all, I don't want to stereotype, but a large portion of this group in this generation, this group of young people, you're just supposed to show up and give and hand them over things. And there's this sense of entitlement. And it's like, why should someone give you a job when you're using language that you use in a text on a resume? The person can't spell. You show up to an interview and you're wearing, your clothes are wrinkled, or you're not wearing a button-down shirt, just a very unprofessional look. And then the resume is unprofessional. And then they start talking. And when some of these people start talking, they're not speaking proper English. They're speaking the King's language in Ebonics, and somebody's just supposed to give you a job. And it's like, it just doesn't work like that. So then people are offended when they don't get hired. But it's like, well, like you said with that word intentional, I love that word. How intentional were you about getting hired? Like, if you didn't know what to wear, why didn't you get some coaching on that? I mean, you use YouTube for everything else. So I just think that a lot of times some people want things just because they showed up. But it's like, well, how did you show up? Because that can make or break everything. It's like, I'm glad you showed up. I mean, a lot of times, people show up 5 minutes late, which to me, like you said, you weren't even intentionally trying to get somewhere on time. You definitely don't want to show up to an interview late. So they're already starting off on a bad foot. Showing up to an interview late, not properly dressed. I mean, you're already giving off a bad aura about yourself and like an I don't care attitude before the interview even started.
Yeah. Well, here's what I want to address. I think that we all have to be taught. Mm-hmm. And I think that this is where community comes into play. Businesses like your business and mentorship and people who take time to care and take time to find out what's going on with our young people, because a lot of them don't know. A lot of them haven't been taught. And so it's our job, doing what we're doing today to make a point to care.
Or pull somebody aside, and they might be offended. So they just have to get their feelings hurt, because if you keep going to job interviews looking like that, you're not going to get hired. I'm sorry. So somebody has to tell you something at some point.
Yeah. I think that, we're all each other's keepers. And I think that if we establish a community to where we don't let our young people show up dressed with jeans, these type of things, then that's when they'll show up and be successful. I think that, like I said, a lot of times people just don't know. And so pulling someone lovingly aside, and you may have to speak their language to get them to understand this is why you won't do it, then we can get somewhere. But I don't think that I just don't think that some people know. And so it's our job to kind of educate.
I agree with you. And I love that movie that just came out with I'm trying to think of the name of it. With the mother from Fame, where she was the like the etiquette teacher. It was an Amazon movie. Okay. I want to make sure I'm saying it right, though. I'm trying to look it up online now because I wasn't thinking we were going to come here. But anyway, she's an etiquette teacher, and I don't know if you had this when you were growing up, but I was like a debutante in the cotillion ball, and we had people that helped us. It could be a mother in the church or whoever who offered those etiquette classes to us, and it just seems like those types of things have been lost. And this is a result that we have now, where you have young women like going out in public with bonnets on their head and in pajamas and slippers. and thinking that that's appropriate, or wearing a white t-shirt with a neon orange or green bra for everybody to see, and they call that style. And I'm like, no, that looks tacky. You need to like go home and put on some clothes. But this is kind of the generation that we live in, and it is, I don't know, like, where do we start? Where do we begin in kind of trying to lift these women, young women, up out of this downward spiral that a lot of them are quickly falling into?
I think balance is important. I think
Mm-hmm.
that being able to express yourself is important, but knowing where and how to do it.
Right.
And so really, really just talking about, you know, when something is appropriate and where is I think how we'll reach the younger generation. I mean, personally, depending on where she is, I don't see anything wrong with a t-shirt and a neon undergarment. But where and when is the issue. And so I think that if, like I said, it's a mindset.
Yeah.
Where this will be appropriate and when, because it's not appropriate everywhere.
Yeah, you don't want to walk into church, I'm sorry, with the neon bra and some jeans.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I think that balance is important. I really, really do. And I think that really, really nurturing personal expression and then educating on how to show up with expression is really, really important. So I personally don't see anything wrong with personal expression. It's just like, when is it appropriate and where?
Yeah, the name of the movie is called Sylvie's Love. If you have not seen the movie, you got to see the movie.
It.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, I love the movie. Now, I wasn't crazy about the storyline, but Coco from Fame is she was a mother in the movie who was an etiquette teacher for her daughter.
Okay.
So yeah, you got to see it. It's an Amazon original. It's a beautiful love story. I mean, it gets messy. It does get messy in the story, but it's still a beautiful love story. Yeah, you got to check it out. So I say all of that to say, like, now I know some Black women are going to get upset at me for saying this, but could it be when we talk about our men respecting us and they just call us B's and H's? Could it part of that problem be the way that we present ourselves as a whole? What do you think? I don't know if there's like a cookie cutter answer to answer that question or not.
I'm pretty, my thought process with that is a little feminist. As a 41-year-old woman, I think that we need to do a better job of teaching our men respect regardless to how a woman looks and how she behaves. So it's a topic that how can I put this? I don't like to place blame on women for looking the way that they do. Even if a woman runs out inappropriately dressed, I think that men should be able to still be respectful of women. That's my thought process. Now,
do you think that men should respect women when they don't respect themselves?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, I do.
I agree with you, but I still feel that women should respect themselves too. And one way that you show how much you respect yourself is by how you dress. So it is a double standard, and that leads into another question that I was going to ask you about image with men versus women. But I mean, that's just kind of the world that we live in.
Yeah, it's a double standard for sure, but I don't like to place the responsibility on women for how men behave. I think that is
I'm not placing, I said in part, definitely not placing all responsibility, but I do think that women have a role that they can play in that, because honestly, like, I have not had any type of, I have never been abused by a man. I have never had a man use demeaning language towards me. You know, he might like, you know, make jokes or something like that, but you know, some guys are just, that's how they are. And I'm not saying, you know, that's always a good thing too. However, like in terms of like putting me down, I've never been through that, but I also don't go outside, you know, with my tatas hanging out and, you know, a 6-inch mini skirt either. So I'm just saying that I think that that does play part of a role.
I mean, I agree to an extent, but I think the bigger picture that we should talk about, in my opinion, about women respecting themselves is self-care. I think that when you take care of yourself, when you take time out to get to know yourself, when you take care of yourself mentally, spiritually,
Right.
then, you know, that shows up on the outer. And I think that that is the bigger picture. I think that shows up as self-respect. And if we do a better job of saying that it's okay to take care of yourself, however that looks for you, I think that the respect will show up outwardly.
I agree. Self-care is extremely important.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. So what advice, well, let's move on to the image with men versus women, since we're already kind of talking about that. Is image as important to men as women, or should it be?
I think that image is huge with everyone. I think I'm really enjoying, I follow some fashion accounts on IG, and I'm really, really enjoying how men are embracing the style industry and sector. How again, it's a pride issue. And I'm really, really super in love with men who show up and who show up with pride, especially our Black men. I think that Black men are some of the most stylish, smooth brothers on the planet. And so I don't think that there's ever been a time when Black men or men haven't been into their image. I mean, I think that as a people as a whole, that's one of the ways that we show pride. And so absolutely, I think that is really, really important. And it's equally important for men as it is women. So yeah, I mean, it's equally important in my opinion.
Yeah, or it should be, but I feel like sometimes maybe men feel like they can get away with like less grooming. That I just kind of feel like because women were, you know, maybe because men are more visual, that we're kind of held up to a higher standard. Like, you know, they might be able to skip a week without getting their hair trimmed or their mustache trimmed or the beard trimmed. Whereas a woman, it's like if there's one, like a couple of hairs out of place, and say, oh, she need to take care of that. She need to go get her hair did and get her hair done. You feel like, look at the little scruffy over here, and he's telling you about your hair.
Little dusty.
Or your weight or something else. And, you know, you just kind of, and I don't know, that's just kind of the vibe that I get. But I agree. I think image is equally important with men and women, or should be anyway.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And, you know, a good looking lady, she wants to be with a nice looking man, a man that takes care of himself, and vice versa. I mean, usually you attract what you are. So if you're not well put together, that's kind of, you know, that's kind of what you're telling the universe. This is what how I look in public. This is what I want you to bring to me. And then when that package comes, you don't like the way it's delivered, but it's like, that's what you put out there.
Right.
So it came right back to you.
Exactly.
Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, image I feel like should be equally important. Now, I don't want you to look prettier than me now. I'm gonna just say that as a man, you know. You can get a manicure, but your hairs better not be smoother than mine. I still want you to look like a man now. I don't want you coming out looking like we don't need to be twins, like Denitra.
Just match your fly.
Say that one more time.
Match your fly. That's all.
Yeah. We ain't got to be wearing the same outfits and all that other stuff. I still want you to look like a man.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want a guy that's going to take care of himself and vice versa. And I think, you know, when you meet a man or woman that no matter what age, once they're an adult and they don't take care of themselves, that usually raises some red flags with me. Like, what's going on here? Like, something's wrong.
Yeah, I
Usually,
mean,
when you see someone who's not taking care of themselves, there's something either socially, emotionally, or physically going on that they're just not telling you about.
absolutely. I agree. I agree 100%. And it just goes back to really image starts here. And like you
Mm-hmm.
said, if something is, if there are some challenges there, then it's going to show up outside of your body. It's going to show up
Absolutely.
in your effort or your lack thereof. So absolutely.
Yeah, when you see people and they tell you like, I don't know why somebody would tell you this, but you see somebody says they don't bathe every day or take a shower, and like, okay, red flag. Like that's a sign of that someone's usually depressed, or if they go more than one day without bathing. So that's usually, unless they're an elderly and there's some other issues going on there, but that's usually a classic sign of depression. So I just feel like when you see those red flags, that that could be an opportunity, that could be somebody crying out for help, but they're just not coming out directly and saying it. So that could be an opportunity to sit down and have a conversation with that person too.
Yeah.
So back to sales, what type of advice do you have for someone who's transitioning from a traditional, like a 9 to 5 career to a sales career? Do you think that there's anything that they should change about their image? Do they keep the same style, or does it depend on what items they're selling? How do you feel about
I
that?
think I think it depends. I always encourage my clients that are transitioning. Number one, yes, keep your personal style, but number two, research the industry or the career that you're going into. Check out their culture,
Mhm.
check out their dress code. I think those things are very, very important. But do your due diligence and research. And then there are ways, let's say the company or the career has a dress code, there are ways to still incorporate personal style depending on the industry or the environment. And so really just doing your research, checking
Mhm.
out the culture of the industry or the career, and then figuring out how to incorporate personal style. You might not be able to wear an all red dress, but you can have a red bag, for example,
Oh
if red is your color. So
yeah.
these,
Mhm.
so just figuring things out in terms of what the environment calls for, what the culture is, and if there is a dress code. Do your research.
Yeah, I agree. I know, like when I was in sales and usually insurance, and usually industries that are more conservative, like insurance and banking, usually see a lot of people wear a lot of blues, blacks, browns. But I mean, that culture is changing. I go into the bank, and these days you don't know what people are gonna have on. So that culture is changing too. So I tend to dress
And
more
real estate
traditional with the
too.
darker colors. Yeah, with the real estate, a lot of the grays, the blues, browns, and blacks. But like I said, even that's changing. So especially with women, they seem to, most of us usually want a
Yeah.
little bit more color. So, wearing like, a floral or printed scarf with a traditional color suit. There's different ways that you can mix it up, or maybe wearing more of a printed, shoe or something, just so you don't have, so everything you're wearing isn't like the same color. Or wearing a bright colored blouse. Like I do like to mix up, the darker suits with brighter blouses, just to kind of make something pop on you. Um, are there must-haves in wardrobes for men and women that they should have in a sales career, different career? Like I know usually they say most Black women for most women, it's good for them to have a black dress that you can dress up or down for like after 5 events. Are there other must-haves that men or women should have in their wardrobe?
Yeah, I think the number one thing in sales and in life,
Mhm.
period, number one is a blazer. A blazer
Okay.
can take you from from your job to a nice dinner. And so blazers
Mhm.
just really pull your look together. It actually improves your posture.
Yep,
And
so they still
so,
got the little shoulder pads in most of them, even if they're smaller than
yeah,
they used to be in the 80s. The 80s, they were just like
yes.
look like you had on like a football jersey on.
I actually just bought a blazer with the huge shoulder pads, and I'm like, I'm
Mhm.
sitting up with that on. So a blazer, and then as antiquated as this may sound, suits. And I'm so happy to see suiting back trendy.
Mhm.
Suits are very versatile. But I
Mhm.
think that you need a suit in your closet depending on, especially if you're in the sales industry, you're gonna wear a part of that suit for showing up for what you do. The next thing I think that's essential is a white button down, if you're or a button up, man or woman. I think a
Mhm.
white button down is really, really classic, really clean, really
Mhm.
crisp look that a person should have in their closet. And then the next thing for women, I know things have become more acceptable in terms of large
Mhm.
hoops and things like that, but I think a post earring will take you from, like I said before, from your 9 to 5 to a nice dinner or outing, and you can still be stylish with a post earring. I think that's really, really essential. And then a dress, like you said, a dress. I'm a
Mhm.
huge fan of wrap dresses. I think they look good on every body. And so in a
Mhm.
world that, we're really embracing body positivity. And I think that any shape, size, height, I think a wrap dress, a good black wrap dress is essential. Another thing is a classic trench coat. And I'm so happy that this
Mhm.
is back trending. I'm
Okay.
so happy. I think that it pulls the whole look together, adds a little bit of elegance and chicness to your outfit. And then darker colored jeans for on days where you can dress a little casual. That might go
Mhm.
with your blazer and white button down or button up, but a darker jean. And then the last thing, which isn't essential, but I think that it adds a lot of versatility for women, is a duster. Your longer
Mhm.
cardigans that kind of move. I think it
Mhm.
adds a lot of femininity and a lot of personality and personal style to it. So those are my top essential items that I think
Okay.
that people should have. Yeah.
Are you think that women are getting away from the heels, or are those always going to be in style too?
I think that women aren't getting away from heels. They are just embracing more options. I'm seeing a
Mhm.
lot of power suiting with a more athletic shoe, which
Mhm.
we're now, I like to term it as athlux. You have the luxury of your suit, but you have your sneaker on too. I personally like the look, but I think that a heel is all about personal style. And then when you
Mhm.
talk about the different industries, a lot of times it's not dress code to wear a 4 or 5 inch heel.
Right. Like the two,
So
I was thinking more of the 2 inches or 2.5, the traditional, not the stilettos.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I think a lot of acceptance in terms of personal style is what we're looking
Mhm.
at now, and I like it. I like the fact that people can really, really hone in to personal style and have it embraced.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, Denitra, well, is there anything, we're almost at our hour mark, so is there anything else that you want to add? I so appreciate you coming on the show this evening. I learned a lot about image and style as well, and things I could change up. I love your haircut. We did
Thank
talk
you.
about hair a little bit. As long as I've known you, you've always worn your hair short. Why do you like that type of style so much? Does it complement your facial features quite a bit?
I mean, I'd like to think it does.
I think it does too. It's very cute. As long as you know me, you probably always see me with longer hair. So I don't
Yeah.
know. I guess like sometimes I do want to change it up and get a haircut though. I mean, I get haircuts sometimes it just grows right back. So it's
Yeah, I
never
mean,
been as
hair
short as yours
grows, and
though.
so my hair grows back. I have to cut my hair every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Um, but this is just what works for me. I like the way
Mm-hmm.
I look. I think that it fits the shape of my face fine, and it's
Mm-hmm.
easy in terms of I don't have to do a lot of fussing. I can still run my
Mm-hmm.
fingers through my hair. I have options. I can wear different styles. I can wear it curly if I wanted to. I can wear it a little more, woke up like this type of thing. But I think it just fits my personality. And so I'm gonna be a short hair girl until I can't be a short hair girl.
Well, I don't
So
see that happening anytime soon. It is very cute. It does fit your
thank
face.
you.
So
Thank
in the
you.
morning, you just kind of I mean, I got to do a little bit more than that, but you just kind of run your fingers and you just get up and go. It's pretty
That's it. That's it. And
But
if I go more than 2 weeks and let it grow more, because my hair is really, really thick. So if it grows longer, I can do fun things with it. I can spike it up a little bit.
Mhm.
So I just like the carefree, chic, effortless vibe that short
Mhm.
hair and versatility that short hair gives.
Yeah. Now, what is going on with your husband's hair? I saw his hair in the photos too. And I'm thinking Denisha probably added those curls or texturized his hair. I said, I want to know what she did. Where did he
No,
get
those
this
are
hairstyle
those are
from?
his natural curls. It
Uh-huh.
actually we started growing his hair. He started growing his hair. He was in a bicycle. He was in an accident. And
Oh.
this was a couple years ago, actually before we got married.
Mm-hmm.
And he was just, at home, couldn't do a lot. And so his
Mm-hmm.
beard grew and his hair. And I was like, that's kind of hot. Keep your beard, trim it up, but let's see
Right.
what your hair can do. And so
Uh-huh.
that's his hair and that's his little style now. And I absolutely love it.
Well, girl, if you love it, that's all that matters. It is cute. It's different. It's
And
definitely
he loves
different.
it.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's what it's
Yeah.
all about anyway. And sometimes you can have fun with it. It looks like he had a lot of fun with that hairstyle.
Yeah. I think his hairstyle, I'm seeing it so much now.
Mm-hmm.
And I like it, our men embracing their curls.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or the braids or the twist or whatever. It's just kind
Yeah.
of, everybody's not cookie cutter either, where all guys don't have to have fades,
Right.
or just kind of
Right.
wear their hair really close to their head. So
Right.
like it goes for him. I just was interested. I wanted to see if you had designed his hair or not.
Kind of.
I'm like, I know that you had something to do with this.
The funny thing is, like, since last year, since the pandemic, because he used to, he had a barber, but I guess I'm like the in-house barber now. So, and that's fun too. So I'm not complaining, but he can go back to his barber any day now.
Okay. You said my services are done. So do you style your own hair, or do you still have your own stylist? Because you had mentioned like a hairstylist, but you made it sound like you were no longer at that salon. So I was just curious. I mean, you made it sound like you were working there, but there
Oh
wasn't.
no. No, I
Okay.
haven't been working in a salon, I think maybe 3 or 4 years now. Yeah, so I
Okay.
cut my own hair, I style my own hair, I
Are
color
you
my own hair.
serious?
Yeah.
You're very talented. I was like, this because it's a beautiful hairstyle. I love it.
Thank you.
It's
Thank
very chic.
thank you.
Oh yeah,
And
it does look like you.
I would love to go get for the treat of it, for the luxury of it. I
Mm-hmm.
just, I know the way I like my hair cut. I don't like a lot
Mm-hmm.
of precision cutting. I like a lot of point cutting. And so I just do that well for myself. And so why, if it ain't broke,
Save
why?
somebody money. Yeah. I mean, you've got the training for it too. So that helps. I mean, you're a licensed cosmetologist too. So that does help too. Because I'm always trying to figure out how you guys, when you do your own hair, how do you see in the back of your head? But I guess you just use a mirror. You figure it out.
You know what? It's so weird. I don't even use a mirror. It's not something that you see. It's a feel. If that makes sense.
I got you. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I wish I was talented like you in that area, but I have got to go every 2 weeks. I cannot go without, or it will be looking crazy. Now, if I cut my hair short as you one day, maybe I can get away with that. But when you have longer hair, the only other thing, if you don't want to maintain it every day, the only other thing you really do is put in a ponytail. So, and even that, you got to maintain that too. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Maintenance goes a long way.
Absolutely.
I was talking to my mom. We're going to end with this quote, and we were talking about one of the Republicans' wives, McCain's wife. And I said, Mom, she's so cute. She looks like a little, when they were doing the campaign, I said, she's so cute. She looks like a little Barbie doll. And I said, she's got to be younger than McCain. My mom said, girl, please. She said, the woman's old as dirt. I said, well, she looks. I said, how does she look so good? She said, girl, money makes you look good, girl. She said, it makes you look good. So
money and effort.
Yes. So I said, you either got to have one, the other, or both. You need to have a combination of both. Because you still have to be able to do your hair in between you going to your hair appointments. So, but I always enjoy talking to you. I can tell that you take very good care of yourself, and you're such an inspiration to so many younger women. I know that see you as a role model in the Detroit community. So keep doing what you're doing. Keep it up. I hope that you are back in the groove of doing what you want to do and on stage and in the movies and all that. And I could just see you running like a mentorship program for younger women, because it is much needed in our community right now.
It really is. Yeah. It really is. I do. I have a couple friends who have nonprofits and mentoring programs. So I do a lot with those programs. So
that's good.
It's a necessity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, like you said about self-care, I think it starts at a young age. I mean, you said you started in elementary, and I think the younger, the better. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't know how to take care of ourselves. We weren't taught how to self-care and how to self-love ourselves. And as a result, some of us can be susceptible to certain types of abuse just because we don't know any better. So, so it is very important, and the etiquette goes along. It all works together as a package, because you've heard the saying before. You know, if someone's beautiful on the outside but ugly on the inside, nobody's gonna want to be around that person. It doesn't matter how good you look. So you know, beauty, I think, like you said in the beginning, it really starts on the inside, and then it's just gonna exude out of you, and people will be able to notice it. There's something different about you, you know, especially once they have a conversation with you. That's gonna be when they really find out what you're all about.
Yeah, I completely agree. Completely.
Yeah. All right, Denitra, well, thank you once again.
Thank you.
You left your contact information. If someone wants to use your services or hire you for your services, how would they contact you?
So my website is www.unforgettable.com. I am most active on my Instagram account. So it's at UN4 GETTABLEYOU.
Okay, sounds good. Well, until we see each other again, take care of yourself, and I will see everybody else on Tuesday at 6 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.